What's going on, you guys? It's your girl Sam Shugs, and today we are changing it up a little bit and we're gonna be doing a fashion basic rather than a brand basic video. So I would really like to take this opportunity to define what high fashion is, because I feel like it has this huge misconception of just being overpriced garments, which is absolutely not the case. And the fact that high fashion is so much more than just one category. It's actually two. So without further ado, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, and we're gonna have that fundamental layer be there to build on all of the knowledge that I'm putting forward in my Brand Basics series when I talk about all of these other designers. So without further ado, get ready to learn a little bit more about what high fashion really is. So I feel like this is actually a really misconceived term, because you would think that high fashion just means really expensive, really high quality, and it does, but it's so much more than that. So if you have this initial term, high fashion, it's actually broken down into two different categories. You have haute couture and you have ready to wear. So haute couture is French and it directly translates to meaning high fashion or high dressmaking, and ready to wear is the English translation of the French term PRET-A-PORTER, which is obviously ready to wear. So within these two, we have some key points of differentiation in terms of production and sales. First and foremost, we're gonna look at production for haute couture. So for haute couture, it's basically creating one-of-one garments for one specific client. So because of that, there's incredible attention to detail, it's extremely time-consuming, and often is reflected in a really high price point, especially considering that these haute couture garments are produced by some of the leading fashion houses in the industry. Think Chanel, think Dior. So there are two other criteria that need to be met in order for a house to be considered a haute couture house. So firstly, you're creating these one-of-one garments. Secondly, you have an atelier, which is the heart of your brand. They're the ones who produce the designs that you create, of over 20 ateliers, who are the individuals who actually make the garments. And then lastly, you present 2 collections a year with at least 50 different designs. So now breaking down each of those 3 bullet points. 1, creating one-of-one garments. I'm sure you guys have all made one-of-one tie-dye t-shirts at summer camp or done something similar to that where no one else in the world has it. And yes, that is definitely a notion that supports haute couture design, but it's next level. They are not only creating something that no one else can buy because there's only one of, but it's also the fact that they are designing for one specific person from the ground up. So they're creating the design, they're creating the aesthetic, and they're creating the garment to suit this individual person based on their measurements and their own unique personal sense of style. So that is this one-of-one, very creme de la creme designing that goes on for haute couture. Now, the second bullet point, your atelier. So this is when all of the designs on paper come to life. So these 20 different ateliers are the people who are creating the pattern for the design that you had just sketched out on paper. They are the ones who are using the material that you have selected in creating that garment and having multiple fittings with the individual that you're dressing for the specific look. And that's extremely time consuming. So that also adds to the prestigiousness of a haute couture design or outfit. And then lastly, you have to produce over 50 of these designs twice a year in 2 different collections. So the first collection is fall-winter, and the second is spring-summer. So now, seeing that that's how haute couture works, we're gonna flip it over to pret-a-porter, to ready-to-wear. So for ready-to-wear, you can still apply that notion of wanting to design for a specific personality, and similarly to haute couture, but it's produced on a larger scale. It's considered more factory-made fashion because you're producing this one top, for example, but you're doing that one top in extra small, medium, large, extra large. So because of that, you're creating a little bit more of a world that is accessible to consumers, because anyone can wear this one specific design that you have created, not just one person who that design was created for. So you can see how the production differs between the two. One is extremely laborious, requires a lot of manual labor because it is all done by hand. Multiple fittings are involved to create this final look. Whereas with ready to wear, while you do have a lot of fittings to make tweaks to the designs, it all in all stays the same. It's just about creating the vision, but to be produced on a larger scale. So nextly, we're gonna look at sales between the two. So naturally, for haute couture, you're producing a one-of-one garment, and for all of the reasons listed before, it's gonna be really expensive. You're getting some of the best fashion houses in the world, like Chanel, like Dior, who is making a garment for you. Your body, specific measurements. So that definitely comes at a price. Whereas with ready-to-wear, it is the designer's vision that he is executing, presenting it to the public, and allowing people to purchase. Therefore, the price point for ready-to-wear is more accessible than for haute couture. And then another point within the difference of sales between these two categories is how many collections they produce. So for haute couture, obviously it's much more laborious and time-consuming, so they're only required to produce 2 collections, fall, winter, and spring, summer. Whereas with ready-to-wear, because they're using more technology, they're able to produce faster and they're able to produce all of those sizes. Therefore, they are expected to produce 4 collections a year. You have fall, winter, you have spring, summer, and then you also have resort/cruise, which is technically pre-spring, summer, and then you have pre-fall, winter. So that's 4 in total versus haute couture that's only required to produce 2. And because of that, the delivery schedule in terms of sales for ready-to-wear is much different to the structure of that for haute couture design. Obviously, for haute couture, you're making one design for one person, and that's the sale right there. But for ready-to-wear, you're designing for an audience of people who can come and purchase at any time. So a lot of brands have implemented a batch delivery strategy, which is basically, let's say you show your fall-winter collection, but once the stores, the department stores, the boutiques, so on and so forth, come to you and say, okay, hey, I want to buy this collection, I want to have it in my store, they're able to select individual pieces that they want to purchase, that they think will obviously cater best to their clients, to their customers, and so they place a buy for that. So with that, you're gonna be getting different deliveries within a certain season. So you're not gonna be getting your entire order as a buyer for a department store or a boutique. You're not gonna be getting your entire order on one day. It's gonna arrive at different times. It's dispersed. That way, it keeps it fresh for the brand, and it keeps people interested in coming back into your store to see what's new and to continue buying with you. However, from the business side of things, that's not the best when it comes to retailers, because you obviously want to have all of the product on the floor for the maximum amount of time, because that increases the likelihood to sell everything. But from the brand side of things, it's smart because it allows you to keep the interest of your audience. So all in all, those are the 2 major points of difference between haute couture and ready-to-wear that fall under this umbrella term of high fashion. And in my next video, I'm gonna go ahead and do a commentary on why a lot of brands within the ready-to-wear sector are changing up the way that they deliver and the way that they present their collections. So I'll be seeing a lot of young brands right now moving away from producing 4 collections, which is extremely expensive. There's very, very high turnover, and it's contributing to the problem of consumerism. But I don't want to give too much away, so you're gonna have to go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video. Like this video, comment down below what you think and any terms that you want to get defined or any kind of topics about the fashion industry that you want to talk about more and ask for my opinion on. And I'll see you guys back here next time. Alright guys, Sugarwoman out.